My name is Jason. I'm with the BBB Education Foundation, and I have a distinct privilege today of interviewing Mr. Chandler Wood. Now, Chandler, can you tell me a little bit more about yourself?
So I guess you could say graduated. We haven't had the walk across the stage yet, but I have done all the coursework necessary at Rutland High School in Macon. I was involved in FBLA, where I was the president of FBLA, DECA, TRIAM, and the Beta Club. I was also involved in the International Studies program, the FFA, and I led the FCA at the school. So I've been very involved throughout my high school career. I've also worked a job my senior year through Rutland's international or the work-based learning program, and yeah, and then community service is something I'm also passionate about. During the summers, I work with hospice care options and help with their Camp Good Grief, and I've also run blood drives through the American Red Cross at Rutland.
That's awesome. So you just named off that you're president of, it seemed like about 30 different organizations. And
Right.
so let's go over that again.
Okay.
FBLA, because that's
FBLA.
demanding. Uh,
Right.
DECA, that's demanding.
Right.
Um, what FCA? You're very involved in FCA.
Yes, sir. I was awarded the 2019 Service Leader Huddle Leader of the Year through the FCA. So that's all Middle Georgia. I led it in 7th and 8th grade, and then once I got to high school, I started over in 10th grade and led through 10th through 12th grade.
And for those of you not familiar with FCA, to become the Huddle Leader of the Year is a very big deal. And then you got a job.
That's right.
Where'd you end up getting a job at?
So I worked at Middle Georgia Freightliner in the parts department there. It
Yeah,
was luckily flexible, more of like a fill-in to get some of the work done, when it get really busy, but at the same time, I was also able to be flexible. So I was able to go to all of my senior events, thankfully, and all the club events that were demanding. So my employer there was very helpful in making sure I was able to still live the senior year out.
they're a great organization. They truly are. Now, you mentioned something, you kind of glossed over it a little bit, and I want to go back to it because another great organization is Hospice Care Options. Tell us now, when I talk with a lot of high schoolers, because I've actually been to your school a couple of times, and when I talk to a lot of high schoolers, they don't really bring up that they volunteer with hospice. So that's quite unique. So tell me more about that.
So this was a camp through the summer. I actually have a family friend who works for hospice, and I think it was my freshman year summer. We were sitting at the lake, and she mentioned that the next week she had a camp in Warner Robins that they were helping. So it's Camp Good Grief. At that camp, they have kids in from all around the community. They deal with any form of grief, from divorce or a death of a family member, um, like a house fire, any of those type of things where they've experienced grief in their life. They come to the camp. The point of the camp is to distract them from maybe what they're going through, but also to encourage them and help them to realize that there are people there for them that care about them, and to give them a fun week out of their summer where they're not sitting at home maybe thinking about things that they're going through, but instead having some fun with friends their age, and then also adults who can help them and mentor them and counsel them throughout the week.
So with all these other organizations that you're a member of, like we said, FBLA, DECA, and the litany of other things that you're involved in, they all have they have camps, they have summer opportunities, they have different things, but you said, no, I think I will go to the camp to meet with kids that are going through some of the worst things ever. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, throughout my summers, if you looked at my schedule for last summer, I was going a lot of the summer for church camp. I did mission trips through the youth group. So I was busy, but I've always tried to make at least 1 week. They have 3 weeks throughout the year that they have these camps. And so I always try to make 1 week a priority, because I always end up leaving with more gained than I could have ever given to the kids. It's just good. I come from a background where I haven't wanted for much coming up, and I've been very blessed. So giving back to people who maybe have not experienced that same part of life has been encouraging to me. And it also teaches me to be thankful for what I have.
Now, you did have to submit an essay. And the essay, the topic for 2020 was, what is evidence of your trustworthiness? And so have you got your essay handy?
I do.
I do. Do you mind reading that for us?
Sure. Okay. Trust is something that is developed over time. In a world where character and ethics are sometimes hard to find, trust is no different. I think of trust as having responsibility. When giving responsibility to someone, they are entrusted with the task to complete it. For me personally, I find trust in my leadership roles at school. I have been the drum major for my marching band since my sophomore year, and I am the Beta, FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America, DECA, and Tri-Am president. In my years of high school, I have learned that some character traits that I value and expect of myself, others do not. Authenticity and trustworthiness are among some of those traits. When leading a group, it is important to be trustworthy because you are the example. As my band director once told me, as a leader, your actions are seen by students as well as parents, and those actions are what develop the perceptions of our band. These words I have lived by since, and I try to tell other leaders the same thing. I like to lead by example, and it is important to show others the values they should carry. Ethics are similar to morals, and these values are very important to me. In many regards, the morals I have developed because of my family, but I still have to make my daily decision to abide by them. Trust has been bestowed upon me from many of my school teachers and advisors, and I have worked to prove my dependability. From scheduling meetings, completing projects, leading fundraisers, and many other tasks, I have done my absolute best to achieve success in every regard. For this reason, I would describe myself as trustworthy because of the many ways that I get to serve as a leader at my school. I am involved in community service through places like Hurd Elementary School, where I coordinated volunteers for their fall festival. In this situation, the school's PTA trusted that I would find enough volunteers for the festival to run efficiently, and it did. I am proud of the different ways that I have been able to serve in my community and in leadership within my school. When speaking with my advisors, teachers, and community leaders, you would be reminded of my responsibility and trustworthiness. For me, being trustworthy isn't about the public recognition I receive, but instead how it makes me feel as a person. Trust goes with authenticity, and I like to treat others the way I want to be treated. For that reason, everyone I come into contact with, I strive to treat with dignity and respect. On top of these, I like to prove my dependability and trust to others.
We don't know when you're graduating, right?
Right. Well, technically July 29th or 30th, but they don't have a location or a time yet, so
It's up in the air.
that's right.
So, what are your future plans?
I plan to go to the University of Georgia in the fall. My major is finance, and I just signed up for classes last week, so it's getting pretty real.
It is. It's getting very real, isn't it? So, with all the uncertainty, and you not having, a firm, solid graduation date, there's some certainty that, well, we want to give you. And I want to tell you right now that you've actually won this scholarship. So congratulations, you just won the $1,000 BBB Student of Integrity Scholarship.
Wow, that's great news.
It's there's an organization in town called Burgess Pigment Company, and they have worked with Kaolin for years and years and years. And Mr. Burgess believes enough in our students here locally that they put forth the money, and the BBB, after seeing your application and the glowing recommendations, it was easy to choose you as one of our Student of Integrity winners.
That's amazing.
So
It is an honor to receive the Student of Integrity Scholarship. The consideration for this scholarship is exceptional, and I was blessed to have the opportunity to apply. I have committed myself to excellence throughout my life, and high school has been no exception. I strive to be the best person I can be, regardless of my circumstances. Receiving this scholarship means I can further my education at the next level. Going into college, I plan to continue being an ethical and responsible person and plan to continue to represent myself, my family, and my community well. I will work to make those who contributed to my success proud. My community involvement and leadership will remain as I move to college and where I plan to get involved there as well. Thanks to all the stakeholders, Burgess Pigment, and those who contributed to the Student of Integrity Scholarship.